today we are doing inscribed angles with algebra. It is very much what you did yesterday as far as the relationships. It's just that now you're going to have to take that relationship and find x, okay? So, what we learned yesterday, let me zoom in right here, is our inscribed angle is equal to 1/2 of my arc, okay? So if I need the inscribed angle, I take half the arc. But if I want to do it vice versa, taking half the arc is like arc divided by 2. How do you undo divide by 2? Times by 2. So if you need to find the arc is going to equal 2 times the inscribed angle. So I want you to write that up there at the top. That'll be like your little cheat sheet, okay? Now, as we're trying to solve these, sometimes you're going to have this relationship. You're going to know that inscribed angle is equal to half the arc. Sometimes you got a couple of different arcs or angles that make one 80. Sometimes you got the whole circle. If you've got the whole circle, how many degrees is that? 360, okay? Sometimes, very few times, the two angles might be equal to each other. There's a whole bunch of different relationships, and you got to figure out what you're looking at. All right, so let's go with number 9 right here, okay? You're going to solve for x. So your x is right here in this angle. It opens up to the arc, thank you friend, to the arc WY. Tell me what you know about the size of arc WY.
180.
Why?
Because it's a semicircle.
It is a semicircle. So since it's a semicolon. Alright, so since it is 180 degrees, what is the relationship between my inscribed angle and the arc? The inscribed angle, which is 13x minus 1, is 1/2 of its arc. And what was its arc?
180.
180. So it opened up to 180. So now you're going to solve for x. So you got 13x minus 1 equals, what is half of 180? 90. All right, so I'm going to keep solving for x. What's the inverse of minus 1? Plus 1. So inverse is 0 out. I got 13x equals 91. How do I undo times 13? Divide both sides by 13. So x equals 7, my friends, tell me. How did I know I was supposed to solve for x? Because it says so. It's this amazing thing that you can do if you want to get the right answer called reading the directions. And if you read the directions, it will tell you what you're supposed to find. Because sometimes you've got to find x, but you have to take it and plug it in. Alright, so now let's look at number 10. In number 10, I've got to solve for x. X is part of an expression in this angle. This angle is part of a triangle. What do you know about the interior angles of a triangle? What do they add up to be? They add up to be 180. Okay, now your outside is 360. You could get there by doing this that as well. I'm going to focus on my triangle. Okay, I already know these two angles. I need this one. Look at where angle Y opens up to. What is the arc measurement where it opens up? 78. What do you know about an inscribed angle and its arc? The inscribed angle is half the arc. So this angle right here, that is 1/2 of 78. So 78 divided by 2, which is what?
Oh, I didn't have to answer. Can I go get a word last name?
Yes, go real quick. So it's going to be 39. Okay? Now, everybody's looking, everybody's listening. You've got 39. Ignore everything except for those angles. All three of these angles, 114 plus 39 plus 7x plus 6, they make up a triangle. How many degrees is the interior of a triangle? 180 degrees. So now, you're going to simplify and solve. So you have 7x. You're going to add 114 plus 39 plus 6. And what's that give you? You got a calculator, type it. True that. It should give you 159 equals 180. Now, how do you undo plus 159? You're going to subtract 159. So inverses zero out. 7x equals 180 minus 159 is 21. How do you undo times 7? And what does x end up being if it's 21 divided by 7? 3. Since I asked you to find x, you got x. Alright, let's look at number 11. So, for number 11, I have arc AB is 92, arc BC is 162, and angle ABC is 7x minus 10. I need to know x. Well, x is part of this angle right here. What can you tell me about an inscribed angle and its arc? It's half of the arc. What's that arc? You're looking at me and you're like, I don't know. You don't know, but how could you find it out? Subtract the two arcs you know from the whole thing, which is how much? 360. So 360 minus the 92 that's already used up, minus the 162, what does that leave you with?
290.
Nope.
Wait. Oh, I didn't.
When you subtract them, you might have added them.
I did minus and plus.
Oh, there you go. So it should leave you with 106 degrees. So now, this angle, which is 7x minus 10, is equal to 1/2 its arc. And what is the arc? 106. So the inscribed angle equals 1/2 the arc. So now we start solving. 7x minus 10 equals, what's half of 106? 53. Okay. And then I want x by itself, so it's the inverse of minus 10. Plus 10. Inverse is 0 out. 7x equals, what's 53 plus 10? 63. How do you undo times 7?
Divide it, and it'll give you 9.
And then that gives you 9. Now, I do recognize that there are other ways that you could figure this out, and that is totally fine and acceptable. But I'm going to tell you, if you've noticed, I'm going to focus on using this. Inscribed angle equals half the arc. I'm going to try to set that up every time. That way, I've got one way in mind, and I'm kind of doing the same thing with every single problem. Because I have noticed, if I get too many options, I don't know where to get started, okay? But I know for a fact the rule that the inscribed angle is half of the arc. All right, number 12. All right, so on number 12, we're going to solve for x. Again, I need you to figure out where your x is located. Your x is on an arc. So if my x is on an arc, that means I'm going to try to use these arcs, okay? And so all of these arcs together, all the way around the circle, how much does that equal? 360. So I've got 5x plus 21. I've got 120. I need to know this one to finish out 360. All right. If the angle is half of the arc, how do you go in reverse to find the arc? It would be times by 2 to get the angle. So this arc is 2 times the angle. What's 2 times 67? 134 degrees. You can double check it and then do 134 divided by 2 really is 67. So now, you've got all of the arcs. You've got 120 plus 134 plus the 5x plus 21 to equal 360 degrees. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see. Because you've got a whole circle. Now, simplify and solve for x. You've got 5x. What's 120 plus 134 plus 21? 275. And 275 equals 360. How do I move to inverse 275? I'm going to subtract it. So, inverse is 0 out. I got 5x equals, what is 360 minus 275? 85. How do I undo times 5? Divide, bless you. X equals, what's 85 divided by 5? 17, my friend says. I trust him, but you verify.
Yeah, that's right.
Good. So, all I had to do was solve for x because that's what the directions told me. All right, here we go. If the measure of angle FGH, angle FGH, that's this guy right here, 6x plus 21. And then the measure of angle F to J to H is 17x minus 28. I need you to find me the measure of FGH, or JH. FJH is 17x minus 28. What does x equal?
We don't.
Exactly. We don't know that yet. So we've got to figure out how to find x. So I know this arc is 17x minus 28. Its inscribed angle is 6x plus 21. There's going to be a lot of people that set these equal to each other. But look at your rule. Are they equal? Your inscribed angle equals half of your arc. What's my inscribed angle? That's the 6x plus 21. It equals 1/2 of the arc, which is 17x minus 28. I get it, my equation set up, then I can simplify, okay? So I've got 6x plus 21 equals. What is 1/2 times 17x? 8.5x. Now, I personally like to deal with decimals when it's like a terminating decimal, like because it's a half, it's going to end in 0.5. I don't like fractions. 1/2 of negative 28, what's that going to give me? Negative 14. All right, now, the next thing I have to do is use inverses to get variables on one side, constants on the other. It truly doesn't matter which side you put your variables on, as long as you put your constants on the opposite side. I personally like to go variables on the left, constants on the right. That way I'm always doing the same thing. How do I move a positive 8.5x? Come on, talk to me. How do you move a positive? You're going to subtract. Okay? Now, these inverses zero out. I'm going to go ahead and move this positive 21 using its inverse. Inverses zero out. So I take my calculator, 6 minus 8.5, and that gives me negative 2.5x. And then in my calculator, I do negative 14 minus 21, and I get negative 35. X is not by itself. I'm timesing by negative 2.5, so I'm going to inverse and divide by negative 2.5. What do I get when I do negative 35 divided by negative 2.5? 14, my friend says. I trust you, verify. Now, if you're doing this problem and you get 14, secretly in my heart, I'm happy. Why am I happy?
Because you have the right number.
You've got the right number. But why does my pen have to mark you wrong?
Because there's no
There's no degree.
I didn't find
You didn't find FJH.
FJH. I found X. So now I got to remember to go back and do what the problem actually told me to. I need the measure of arc FJH, which is 17 times x minus 28. And what did you just find out x is? All right. And so I type that in my calculator. And what do you get as your answer?
210.
My friends tell me 210. Now, I'm putting a degrees. You have to have a degrees. Why do you have to have a degrees?
Because that is wrong.
Because it's not, if you don't, it's wrong. But why do you have to have it?
Because it's a side angle.
It's a arc. Arcs and angles get degrees. Distances do not. So arcs and angles have to have a degree. All right, if you're good, then let's go on to number 14. All right, so you're going to have to slow down and read what it says, okay? What's this little symbol right here mean? Angle. What's that one?
Arc.
Those are two totally different things, okay? So you really are going to have to slow down. This says, if angle STU is 5x minus 16, and arc SU is 12x minus 50, I need you to find me the angle of the STU.
What'd you do? 5x minus 16 equals 12x minus 50.
Not quite.
Or you got it
So,
about two.
he said, would I do this equal to this? What's the rule? Your angle equals how much? Half the arc, so you got to divide it by 2. So your angle, 5x minus 16, equals 1/2 of the arc, which is 12x minus 50.
X minus 25.
All right, so my friend, he just took half. He said half of 12 is 6x and half of 50 is negative 25. So now you need x. You got to put variables on one side, constants on the other. It truly does not matter which side you move your x's to. I'll be honest and tell you what I usually do is I take the smaller x and move it to the bigger one because that way I avoid negative numbers. But one thing I tell my students, especially anybody that's struggling with it, is to always, I don't like to give you too many options. You do the same thing. So I'm going to take my variables and I'm going to move them to the left. What is the inverse of a positive 6x? Minus 6x from both sides. Inverses cancel.
I was thinking about negative or
I'm going to inverse negative 16 by adding 16. Now, here's the only place it scares me. What's 5 minus 6?
negative 1.
Negative 1x. Negative 25 plus 9, oh, I just said it. Plus 16 is negative 9. Can I leave negative x? No. Gotta have a positive x, which causes me to have a positive 9. Now, I got x equals 9. I'm proud of myself because that's right.
Be though,
But you're gonna mark me wrong. Why are you gonna mark me wrong?
because you
Because you
remember
didn't find the x.
I didn't find what you asked me to find. You've got to find the measure of angle STU. That is STU. This is what I want.
9.
So what am I going to do with 9? Plug it in for x. 5 times 9 minus 16. Oh, help me out. What's 5 times 9 minus 16?
29
29 what?
Degrees.
Why do you need degrees?
It's an angle.
Because it's an angle. Arcs and angles get degrees. All right. Now, if the measure of angle ABD, let me figure out what that is. ABD. That's this angle right here, 6x plus 26. And the measure of ACD. That's 13x minus 9. I need you to ultimately find the measure of arc AD. Okay. You've got to figure out how those two expressions are related to each other. They might add up to be 360. You might have to multiply them by 2. You might have to take half of the other one. I don't know. So, I want you to look at, these are two angles. So it's definitely not half of an arc situation. This angle opens up to what arc?
AD.
Okay. This angle opens up to what arc?
AD.
What does it mean if they both open up to the same arc?
They're congruent.
They are congruent. So what do I do with these two things?
13x
They're equal.
9 equals 6.
Very good. Because they open to the same arc, the two angles are congruent, and that means whatever they said they are is equal. So now, solve for x. I'm going to minus 6x on both sides. Inverses cancel. I'm going to add 9 because that's the inverse, and inverses are going to cancel. What is 13 minus 6? 7x. What is 26 plus 9? You got a calculator and fingers. 35. How do you undo times 7?
Divide by.
And what is 35 divided by 7? Okay. So x is 5. If you get x equals 5, secretly I'm happy because you're on the right track, but my poor little red pen is going to mark you wrong because I asked you for the measure of arc AD. I asked you for this. I don't even know what AD is, so I can't plug anything in. It's an arc. What's its relationship to each of these angles?
It's congruent.
They're not congruent. The angles are congruent. The arc to the angle. The angle equals how much? Half the arc. Well, if I need to go from the angle to the arc, I'm going to times by 2. So to find the measure of AD, arc AD, I'm going to do 2 times that angle. What's that angle?
It's 112
Why?
is the answer.
True, true. Well, how did you get this?
Because, you done 6 times 5 plus 26.
And what does that equal?
Equals 56.
Alright, so my angle is 56. The arc is 2 times that angle. So 2 times 56 gives us a total of 112 degrees for that arc. You've got to take all these little pieces of stuff that we've worked on for the last month, 2 months, 3 months, and now they're starting to fit together like a puzzle. Alright, last example on this page says, if measure of KJL, so this angle right here, is 3x plus 2, and the measure of KLJ, this angle right here, is 7x minus 32, find the measure of arc KL. Now, KL has an inscribed angle at J. What's the relationship between the arc and the angle? The arc is half the angle. Or, work it backwards. The angle is 2 times the angle if I want to get the arc. But before I can do that, I've got to get x. Now, these two are part of a triangle. How many degrees are in a triangle?
90.
Nope. 180. Now, you were thinking of something you saw me do yesterday. I need this angle, okay, where K is. It opens up to this diameter. How many degrees is this side? It's a semicircle, so it's how many? 180. So, if this is 180 degrees, how do you find it's inscribed?
Do 3x,
180 times, or divided by 2, or times a half. What is half of 180? 90. So this angle right here is 90 degrees. So I have all 3 angles.
which is what I said.
90 degrees, I know, that's what I was saying, you were getting to it. 90 degrees plus 7x minus 32 plus 3x plus 2. All together, a whole triangle equals 180. He was saying 90 because he recognized that that was going to be 90, so there was only 90 left for the other 2 angles. Alright, so based on how I set it up, 7 plus 3 is 10. 90 minus 32 plus 2 is going to be 60, which equals 180 degrees. How do I get rid of plus 60? I'm going to subtract 60, inverses cancel. 10x equals 120. When I divide by 10, what does my x equal? 12. Alright. I need to find arc KL, so I need J. So let me do that. 3 times 12 plus 2. What's that? 3 times 12 plus 2 would be 38 degrees. Okay. So for the measure of KL, it is twice as big as its angle, which is 38. And what's 2 times 38? 76 degrees. Now, the worksheet that goes with this, sit tight, let me show you something. The worksheet that goes with this is somewhere up here. Here it is. Problem number 9, I don't like it. So, I want you to fix your problem number 9. Hey, toss me one of those black pens. Easily. That was not easy.
That was far from being easily.
Alright?
That's something you should write them up.
Write them up, write them up.
Alright.
Finish you.
So, well, it was my fault. I asked him to. Alright? I want you to fix number 9 to look just like that.